Hello and welcome to Driving an EV in the UK. Please subscribe. And on today's show, it is Saturday. Now this is a day that I normally don't do big drives because normally the roads are packed and the places are very busy because everyone's off work and they all go out. So this is quite unusual that I'm actually going to do such a big drive. So with that, if the video that I've done showing you the map has turned up and worked out okay, I'll put that up right now. Okay, this is a map of the route that we are taking on Saturday. So we start off down here and we're going all the way around this route and back. So let's just close in. So this is Dunbarton and we go along the road. It's about 8 miles to get into Helensburgh. Then we'll be leaving on the road going past Fastlane and going over this, which you will see, I've just found out, is a very tight, windy and very bumpy road all the way up. If we zoom in here, if we leave and go straight ahead, we come to this car park where there is a charger. Then we would go back down, back along this road towards Talbot, and we are on this occasion going to go up the A82 as an additional bit to here where there is a charger in the car park, then back down the road with the lock on that side all the way back down, join back onto the main road, go down and go all the way down to the bottom of the loch. It takes some time to get down. Now, we have a choice of 3 chargers that we can look at and see which one you can get onto. One of them is in a little car park here, just in front of Co-op. One of them is at this point here, this bit here of the road, and the other one is here, right there at that bit there. Once we charge back up, we'll then come back onto the 82 and we'll come all the way back down, back across the bridge and back to the caravan. Okay, so our first mission is to get to Dunbarton. Now this is about 40 miles or so away, give or take, and we'll be going on our usual way which we would use to get to Glasgow, but we'll then be going over the bridge because that's the nearest point, and then going back along the coastline to Dunbarton, when there, we are going to check out the charger that is there. So we'll see what happens with that, and so we better watch the videos for that now. Hello, and we are in Dumbarton today. Right, well, this is the only charger this place has. And I have to say, they are painfully slow. Not only that, I don't know if you can make out, but both of them, the displays have water in them, so you can hardly, if at all, read what's on them. Now, I don't know what speed they're doing, But I arrived at 104 miles, so I'd only done 40 miles, and it was gonna take over 3 hours to charge up. Now that's a bit ridiculous. That's slower than I think plugging it in at home. Because yesterday, if you remember yesterday was Friday, and we stopped off at Saltcoats. We plugged in there, and we only had 57% when we plugged in, and we got to 100% in 2 hours. So 3 hours just to put 25% in instead of 43%. It's a bit much. So we didn't really need it, as I say. I had 104 when I arrived. I'll see what I've got when I leave, but I'm doing a big circular route which is going to clock up some real distance. From here we are heading up to Helensburgh, and we'll do a quick stop off there, and then we'll continue around the road, up the coastline, then across, then down. You'll see what. Keep it a secret. Shh, shh. So let's get on with this, and let's get uncharged and unplugged and back on the road. Okay, so we leave Dunbarton, and it's about 8 miles to Helensburgh along like the coast road. It's the nearest thing to a coast road that you're going to get. And we're not heading to the charger at Helensburgh, because the Helensburgh chargers are on the seafront at the swimming pool, and they are the council ones, and the council now charge for them. I think they're 25 pence, but when looking at the chargers there's no price on them. So if we watch the video for that bit and see the roads, what they're like for that 8 mile. Okay, so now we leave Helensburgh. We are leaving on the coast road, so we're heading around the coastline. We're going to go past Fast Lane, where the submarines are, and the nuclear vessels. Yeah, yeah. So we're going to go that, and then we're going to go up the tiny little road, and not knowing before I went on it what it's like, I now know what it's like, and it is very roller coasty, and it's very narrow. So, and there's a lot of motorbikes on it. So let's have a look at that bit. So, as you see, when I left the narrow roads, I continued up to that little car park, which is higher up. It's less than a mile. It's, but the car park I don't know if you could tell from the video, but it was full. It had signs up saying full, and how tight where the charger is, where the other cars park, would mean very difficult to get in, and so it didn't look like I could get in, so I didn't try. So I just turned round and continued back along from one side of the water, being on this side when I drive, to it being me going across and having the water on this side with the car here. So we would touch Loch Lomond on that side. Because of time, I turned at Talbot and went up to that in a glass place. Last year when I went, the car park was free, and now you have to pay 30 pence for 15 minutes, £1 an hour, going up to all day for £4. But there was a charger, so I did put it on for a short length of time. It's only a very short length of time I went on for. So I went from 63% up to 79, 91 miles to 115. So left there with that much. It wasn't important to charge. It was only 5.5 units went in, but it was just something while I was there, and if I'm going to be there, I might as well put a bit in if you could get onto the charger, as we keep saying. So we do that, and we come down the coast of Loch Lomond. So when we're driving, Loch Lomond would be on this side of you, all the way down to Balloch. and we check out the other chargers that are in Balloch. We try a charger from what you see, and the head of the charger is so badly damaged it just error messaged itself out. So I moved from the town centre, well, it's really a village, there's not that many shops, and I went in to their coastal bit shopping area, and there is 2 chargers there, and not the easiest one to find, 1. 2, there's only 2 of them, and they were, when I could see where it was to be able to get around the car park to get to it, all of them were full. But when I pulled round and came in, an electric car went past me, and I pulled in and there was a space. I'm going, that's mine. So I 100 mile an hour. No, just kidding. I wasn't doing 100 mile an hour. Don't. I wasn't. But I was going fast. Well, I got there because no one else was going to have it. So I pulled in and connected the charger on. The total time from I would have been on would have been close to about 1 hour 45 if I was going to go to 100%. I didn't go to 100%. I arrived with 67%. I took it to 96%, and that's where I stopped it. Weirdly enough, that 96% had 144 miles of range within it, which is another. It's really pushing that my ranges are going up into much bigger figures now. It must be the average of what I'm doing, and we will look probably Monday or Tuesday night. We'll look at the distance I've driven, how many units that really comes to, and how many miles to a kilowatt hour those drives have done. So we'll have a look at that on a separate video, and we'll go over the figures with that probably Monday night, possibly, or Tuesday night, one of those 2 nights, because they will be. So far, we haven't gone on a fast charger, except for when we drove up here on the Sunday. All of the chargers I have used have been 7s, so I am not fast charging the car the time I'm here for them, because I've been able to get on 7s and be in the place where they are long enough to get a good enough charge to deal with it. Today it wasn't down to, because if we now look at the final figures, the final figures are 130 miles, 5.4 miles to a unit. So that was really good, because there are some really fast roads that come up and down. We've got bits of motorway, so we were doing 70 at some points. So to get 5.4, that is pretty good for the roads that I was on. There is quite a lot of hills up and bits down, so you know, I'm very happy with 5.4. Not only that, but there is one thing that we haven't said. When I left Helensburgh, and for everything back around to Balloch, I put the car into sports mode for all of that trip that went up the thing, just to see what would happen. I knew I wasn't in any problems with that. I wouldn't have enough to get to a charger to charge, as long as I just put a little bit in here and there. So yes, I was disappointed with Dunbarton and how slow that charger was, but it wasn't important. But it was a really slow charger, and that is technically the only one that is free in Dunbarton, and it is that pathetic of a charger. There is a one higher up which is in a petrol station, and I think it's 25 pence for it. But as a free charger, and Dumbarton has a load. There's 4 tiny car parks behind one shops here, but there's a whole line of car parking behind the main shops in the street. Between the main shops and in the river, there is stacks of parking. So it's not that there isn't any room to put some more chargers in. There is plenty of room to put more chargers in, and it would be better if they put some more chargers in. There is none in any other supermarkets. Morrison's don't have a charger, which is quite unusual. But across the road from Morrison's is Asda, and they've got nothing. There's a McDonald's there, and they don't have one, which is unusual because a lot of chargers go in McDonald's. And yes, there's a lot going in Morrison's as well. But, so it's a bit unusual that we are restricted to one very slow charger in that area, when I showed you other chargers like Port Glasgow, where there's not quite a few chargers, and that place is smaller than what Dumbarton is. So it's a bit weird. So with that, I did a calculation on range, displayed range. So the displayed range when I left and got to the first charger, then what I left with and what got to the next, and in total I came up with 121 miles the displayed range had lost in miles, even though I'd done 130 miles of actual range. So it doesn't correct it that much, but maybe that's why we're starting to get these higher numbers, because it's trying to get closer to the actual figure. But I don't mind, you know. I will stick to the thing. If I come to a charger, and even if I've only won 40 miles worth, I'll put it on for the 40 miles. Because then it cuts down the amount of time I have to be on a charger. If you only ever charge full and wait until you get 20%, then you could have a very long wait to get back up to 80 or 90%. If you just do a little bit here and there, and you do it slow enough, then that shouldn't have any damage on the battery, because you're not... What I did do with these chargers, I kept the battery warm, so it was at working temperature, I guess, and that's maybe why it did better than I thought it would for all those hills. So with that, Saturday complete. Sunday might be a little quieter. At the minute I'm not planning anything big, because Sunday there's not as many shops open, there's not as many places open, so I might do a shorter trip, or I might just pick a place that's not too far away. I may wait until after dinner before I go out. It depends on what the weather's like. Everything is dependent on the weather, so let's see what happens on Sunday. Bye for now.